I do want to talk about that touchdown to Kendrick Bourne for a second, by the way, because I mentioned it was a hospital ball that very easily could have got Kendrick Bourne split in half if DeMonte Casey took any angle that wasn't complete shit. People were kind of ragging on Diggs for that. I don't necessarily think that one was his fault, because there was a great tweet. I'm trying to remember who put it out. It might have been Dalton Miller, where it showed the all 22, and like he was in phase on that route after the speed turn. Like people were saying like, oh, he got turned around. It's like, that's an actual technique. It's called a speed turn. It's so that you can transition faster against a double move and then get back in phase on the low shoulder. The reason why he was on the low shoulder is because the route was stemming up the numbers. If you're in a one high look, the free safety should be able to get anywhere in between the numbers. So he's not going to try to get back over the top and play top down as if it was a stem outside the numbers, because he knows that theoretically he should have help. And he was right. He should have had help. KZ should have taken a better angle. So he intentionally kind of sagged underneath in case the ball was left short and inside, or, you know, potentially if it was like a deep seven or like a comeback or something like that. He was intentionally playing low shoulder because he's supposed to against that far inside of a stem, and KZ just blew it. So if you want to blame anybody for it, blame KZ. I don't necessarily think it was Diggs' fault. And I think the fact that he had the awareness to not panic and just immediately get back on low shoulder and be in position, knowing where his safety was supposed to be, I think actually that was a good play by Diggs, and it kind of showed that he's a really, really smart corner. And I think if people saw the all 22 of it, and if they understood leverage and coverage responsibilities and everything like that, I think that people would be giving a little bit more props to Diggs and a little bit more blame on KZ.
Yeah, even if you see the TV coverage, because I didn't watch the all 22. On TV coverage, you know that he's low bracket on that throw, right? And he should be. Mm-hmm. He is waiting for KZ. Turns out it was KZ, but he's waiting for the deep post safety to come over the top, right? That's that play. On that route, inside, he stays under, and you can see when the ball goes over his head, like he's like, you got to be there at the same time as the ball. And KZ was, Bourne went up, cut it off, and KZ was like, oh, crap. It was, 2 steps by with momentum, but it wasn't going to happen, and Diggs wasn't going to catch him. And I think it's one of those things. Pat Kerwin had that great book that he wrote called Take Your Eye Off the Ball, right? So you focus on the other things, and as you start to watch football more and pick it apart and understand how all the pieces are working together, you don't watch the ball. You watch the line, or you watch the blocking, or you watch the releases, you watch the things that are going on away from the ball. And most people's eyes, if they're watching the ball, they come into that play with the ball, they see KZ go over, the next thing they see is Diggs 3 yards behind Bourne, and they're like, Diggs got burned. And you're like, well, that's the way it looks, but that's not it. He was where he was supposed to be, underneath, playing bracket, right? He's fully expecting help over the top on that route. So I'm with you that it's a bad look for Diggs, but he did what he was supposed to do, and KZ should have leveled Bourne, and he missed him. He thought he could go for the ball. Bourne cut it off, and that's the difference, right?
I guarantee you the person whose opinion really matters on that play is Dan Quinn's, and when Dan Quinn watches that back, he's going to be like, yeah, that wasn't Trevon's fault. He's fine. He did get another pick in this game, by the way, a pick 6. So 7
and not
INGs
just a
in
pick,
6
a
weeks.
Pick 6.
To put them back ahead, and then of course there was the touchdown right after that. But continuing his march towards Defensive Player of the Year consideration by just giving up a lot of yards, but also getting a lot of turnovers. And I have no idea, what the formula is for how many acceptable yards you're allowed to give up as long as you keep turning the ball over and scoring with it. But he's pretty close to being over the threshold, I would say.